game changer or big strategic win that you would like to see within the draft?
Yeah, and even more importantly than that, I think Newbee, in a game like this, they're going to want to play as aggressive as possible with KP, but I don't know how easy his game's going to be, especially since there's so many different ways to just get on top of him. They have a lot of different ways to counter-initiate. He's going to have a really good game. Newbee have any chance of winning this game. The last game he had quite a best blink dagger, but we talked about the Slardar trap, where you get that early blink, and if you don't find consecutive fights, your item progression just kind of dies, and you don't really transition into a third
30
floor.
seconds to
Whereas in that last
showtime.
game, you saw Universe on that Batrider continue to farm while his teammates were farming. He always led the fights. He continued to get items in that game.
So if KP is our power player, the one who needs to be able to get the successful aggressive initiations and set Newbee up for success with this kind of lineup, who do we turn towards on the Evil Geniuses side? Who's going to be the player that sort of stops and mitigates that aggressive play by Newbee and keeps the
And they're off.
I think like last game, TPD and Sunil are going to be very key.
We'll take that.
I think if Sunil has a game, that's okay. Like if he gets a Yule Scepter
High
at the right
hopes for
time,
this one.
it should be okay for EG. I'm not sure if he's going to go for the Yules or the Hood. Sometimes you see the Hood on the Timbersaw, and there's a lot of arguments to be made for that, especially with a Skywrath Mage and a Sand King on the other team, as I am just being found out right now.
The pounding of Evil Geniuses fans hungry for Newbee blood as we begin game number 2. The laning phase is going to be Zamail matched up against Moose Alchemist, a classic for Newbee. Kaka had a brief appearance there in the mid lane, but will now transition his way up the top to try and enable KP. As we said, he's got to have a good game. It all starts with a decent laning phase. Bottom lane, we are going to see Evil Geniuses push aggressively against Newbee. Now already taking a large amount of damage. Misfit there. Bounded down to the ground. At the same time, we do see Evil Geniuses. They lose PPD. The Shadow Demon goes down to the combination of the Skywrath Mage and the Sand King, but it's first blood claimed by the boys who bleed blue.
First blood and the fact that it went on a core, unbelievable. They did not expect Zai to deal that much damage, and Zai now going to suicide to the Roshan. Very happy with what he's accomplished already. Might even start to rotate to top. They don't have the Skywrath Mage in this lane, but his job's been done in this bottom lane. Universe is going to take up a good amount of farm now.
Already having Tranquil Boots, life is going to be pretty easy for Zai now as he moves across the map, making appearance after appearance in these lanes, trying to have an impact. Still a question of
That's not for the likes of you.
Will top lane go for Newbee? Obviously, they've already got one kill on PPD. See if they can get even more against Fear's Morphling, try and shut him down.
And Sumail in this mid lane just continues to farm very efficiently. This is what we expect out of the Timbersaw versus Alchemist matchup. Most matchups that Alchemist is going to be a part of are usually pretty bad for him just because he has no kill potential on the enemy mid laner and he doesn't have the best way to harass. Sumail can just keep dragging creep aggro to himself, building up those reactive armor.
Regeneration!
Just sit inside that acid cloud, which is only physical damage.
So considering that the matchup is not very favorable for Move, got to give props to him for so far keeping pace with Sumail, or at least somewhat. There's 10 and 3 on Sumail, but it's only going to get harder as Sumail picks up his level 5 and inevitably kill power at level 6 with that Chakram. The Elder Titan makes his way in, or at least the Spirit does anyway. Zai will try and punish Move with some extra right clicks in there. Pushing him out of lane as much as possible and giving Sumail that free time. Top lane, KP and Kaka going at it. PPD and Fear so far, the lane position, the equilibrium seems to be in their favor. And they're doing not so well in CS though, actually. AP only 5 and 3. Considering they've only gotten one kill, they don't seem to be entirely shutting Fear out with 11 and 6.
Yeah, the bigger concern right now for me is that Universe is getting a lot of farm on the Stasis Void at this bottom lane. Stasis Void is one of those offlaners, which is a little bit odd because this hero doesn't really care about XP as much as he cares about farm. He wants a decent Vlad's timing, he wants to be more than just a Chrono Trigger for his team, and right now he's accomplishing that right now as a result of this dual lane.
He can very easily stand up toe-to-toe against Tao, as you can see. Bash coming to his favor.
Yeah, Lifestealer's not great against Faceless Void in a 1v1 matchup. Void's got high armor. If you look at Lifestealer, he barely has anything. He can't really trade hits just because he doesn't have the most efficient way to heal. all of his spells are a significant mana cost to him, and if he decides to pop anything Universe, he can simply just get out, which means that in this bottom lane spawn, the better thing for him to do is just stack, try to gain levels, but when it comes to a one-on-one right-click war, Universe is almost always going to come out on top, especially with this poor-man shield.
Is mine.
Instead, the boundary rune barely snagged by Kake. He wanted to leave that one open for Moo.
Oh, this mid lane, though.
They are going to get a lot of damage here on Moo as they set up with the stomp. Sumail actually abandoning that one, not going for the Whirling Death. It just leaves it to Zai. The extra harassment in Moo, not even able to cut back directly into the lane. That's Zai's influence, pushing him out, forcing him to fully wrap around, keeping the CF at bay for the Alchemist.
Again, he's going to contest right now with Newbee in this top lane, which they're doing an okay job of. Early commitment to the Caustic Finale is very good against the Morphling, as he's got such short range on his auto attack. But if bottom power is pretty low, Universe is going to make a shot. But he gets a bounce,
and he's got it too! He'll be chased down!
Radiant's bottom tower seen better days.
He gets his very first bounty of the game. He doesn't have time just yet, Tuan. He gets the counterplay, will be able to provide vindication for the loss of Hao's life, but still, play by Universe being made, managing to get a kill solo in the offlane.
I don't know how many times I've seen that, where a Rifler is they're gonna disrupt, but they don't have any follow-up, but you've got to be aware of that right click from the Void. He deals so much more damage. Lifestealer, way overestimating how tanky he is. He barely has any armor. He has power, he only has 4. Can't afford to trade those things.
Yes, but he may be countered as Evil Geniuses are going to come in with a rapid
on Kaka first.
Yeah, they're going to make the roll and not able to get the waveform onto the still easy to pop. They will manage to get the stun with the stomp hits on 2. Kaka starts getting away, but into the trees he goes. Pursued out by Evil Geniuses. Going to be forced to just TP away. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Universe is going to be slowed down here, purged out, and
we all owe a life to the face.
Juan executes him with a purifying blaze.
Just a little bit too cocky is that first kill. I think he thought to himself, I can continue to play very aggressively in this lane, but that time walk.
Sumail making the break for it. 100-meter dash at the boundary room is going to be won by Sumail. Takes that one away from Moo. They're going to try and keep Moo down, not even letting him get more than one CS. The game comes in, smoked up, going to lead with the destruction.
Sorry, friend. I let you down. Out of my way.
Gets him with a final right click.
And even with the Alchemist chemical rage pop, not enough regen. Mail that pure damage comes in handy right there, as does the stat steal from this Whirling Death. And this is the kind of game that you want out of your Timbersaw. He's going to have to snowball out of control, because he has to take so much just so Fear can have a decent game, as Fear has largely been shut out in CS.
Hao may have to be careful now. I don't think they can straight up just Chronosphere Hao and go for a stomp. I think he's a little bit too healthy now, but if he gets low enough, as you can see, Universe is they're going to try and go for the combination now. The Chronosphere leads out. They
Dire's top tower's getting beat down.
Invest inside the creep. I don't think Evil Geniuses have anything. Yep. It's going to be a pretty healthy creep. No opportunity for a deny. They're going to try and stick with it in hope.
Dire's mid tower is having technical difficulties.
Play, but
Dire's mid tower will last much longer. Trouble brewing at Radiant's bottom tower. No breaking down the Radiant structures like this. Dire's top tower, you know the drill. Radiant's bottom tower ain't a pretty sight right now.
To pop up, go for the TP, but underestimate
the Dire might want to mine their top tower.
That skillful
Radiant's bottom tower ain't a pretty sight right now. No breaking through the Dire's structures for now. Dire's top tower's getting beat down. Trouble brewing at Radiant's bottom tower. The Dire might want to mine their top tower.
EG gonna invade this mid lane. You're making his way over. Does now have the replicate of the Alchemist.
Dire's top tower, you know the drill. Radiant's bottom tower seen better days.
Put a lot of pressure into this jungle without even getting a ward down. Hao's gonna make his way down, and
are they gonna try and TP in for this one?
No, this has to be a free tower. Maybe instead they're gonna make their rotation.
Radiant lost one of them bottom towers.
A little bit too far forward.
Moo playing very defensively right now, just farming neutrals, not putting himself in that mid lane just yet. Newbee supports and KP. +1 will rotate through that mid lane, not able to find a pick off on Zamail just yet, but as they go down river, they may run into him. Not in the best position though. There extends one of his eyes, he came across and not the case though. Rebuttal.
Somebody's
comes from Newbee as they claim the kill for 12.
Even you
Downside
should
of
have
them
seen
again,
that
though,
coming.
all their kills are going on the spawners playing this Oracle. More importantly, they keep nabbing support heroes. I don't think they're quite satisfied with that. The last game, they had the same issue. They were getting kills, but they weren't getting them on the heroes that they needed to. Not on that Sven, not on that Stormstrid. Seeing a similar trend develop here. Good news for them, though, is that they are starting to accelerate and farm. All of the 3 cores on their team have had a pretty okay laning phase and transitioning out quite nicely.
There's the progression by Samantha. He got himself a Grid Booster, Arcane Booster, and now closing in on the Bloodstones, but Moo already has his amount of survivability on him. See how quick that Radiance comes into play. Fear, meanwhile, operating on just Boots, Ring of Aquila, and a Ring of Health. His CS has been a bit shut down as that top lane built up momentum. KP, in fact, is going to be working towards a pretty quick Blink Dagger, even clearing through a neutral stack here. Attempted contest here by PPD. It's not going to get too much out of it, though.
Go!
Lane closing in, Newbee. Making it close enough for the Ancient Seal. Maybe they would... Nah, not even. I guess they've got level 6 Kaka. That bit of burst damage is going to be needed. They can bring down the Timbersaw without him throwing out any in the top lane is going to go for KP, trying to stop that Blink Dagger before Bird strikes up though. They're going to need to be hella lucky with the bashes, and it's just not quite there. No decision. And clean getaway for Newbee.
As Sumail even makes his way up there.
Dire's mid tower could use a little help.
Not a lot of bashes in that Chronosphere. KP, he's going to take that Chrono, allow how to aggressively farm in this bottom lane, and Newbee reset a little. Their 2 supports anticipating a move at bottom, but unfortunately for them, EG nowhere nearby.
This support duo, you're not going to see a whole lot of it. Lacking in real hard disables. They have a silence, they have slow, they even have a purge, but they don't have that hard stun. But they make up for it in just raw damage. We're going to see it executed here. Things are going on to PPD. Right, it's going to be needed, but it's not in time. Silence up KP on the way, hits the Burrow Strike, but now it's just stumbled straight to the hands of Samail. Throws out the long range Kaka, landed on a Kaka, but there is going to be heal coming
Radiant's top tower's in bad shape.
Not able to snag a kill.
Radiant structures must have been fortified.
Newbee perfectly fine, barely takes any follow-up damage.
Radiant top tower's hurting.
Continues to push in the wave, but Newbee are going to respond. They've dragged heroes up here. They have a lot of mana available on them.
Here starts morphing into strength. He's a little bit out of mana. He's got 1 magic, 1 stun. Will be hit by the stun. The silence is going to wear out. The burst damage not quite fast enough.
They should continue to chase for this though. Fear's out of mana.
He's got the slow. KP rapidly closing in. Has the Burrow Strike ready to go. KP even going to walk out. Ensuring Fear's death.
You don't enjoy my
Back on the map.
Visibility.
They have to do maybe 2 or 3 more of these rotations to create space for their 1 and 2 positions. Alchemist does not want to help out early on. So far, Newbee have done an okay job. As a Blink Dagger is already picked up, and look at this play. KP has given the Blink Dagger to Kaka, who's holding onto it so that he doesn't reveal, so that they can get another jump as a result.
Same thing by surprise. Right time it could dodge a lot of magic damage, but there's just
told you to stop getting blood on my
Eventually,
blades.
that invulnerability comes to an end, and so too does Chuan's life.
Yeah, Newbee continuing to try to pull EG into thinking KP doesn't have that Blink Dagger quite yet. But Kaka gonna hand it off now. And it looks like they want to go for another combination setup.
Ow! Oh, he put himself into the tree, hoping to be able to get a TP out. Didn't use the TP just yet. This game, unfortunately, gonna go for it. If they're on that, first he needs the RNG, and he doesn't get it this time.
Alright, that's fair.
That is the first time to jump in the top lane, Fear, just like that.
I train already. Dire's mid tower won't last much longer.
Believe me.
That was so cool by them. What they
Radiant's
did.
bottom
Constantly
tower's seen
passing around
better
that Blink
days.
Dagger to make sure
Dire's
that
top
EG has
tower,
no idea.
you know
The
the
last
drill.
thing that Fear saw when he went up to that top lane was KP didn't have the Blink Dagger. If he had it, he would have bought it at the side shop. So he assumes he's fine.
The Dire might want to mine the top tower.
That is long-term thinking from Newbee.
Already, Newbee, they're doing so much more with KP than they managed to do last game with the Blink Dagger pickup, connecting a lot more successful ganks, and this is bringing up the space for Moose. His progression and items doing great. He's
Radiant's mid tower could use a hand.
Yeah, he's gone for so many plays that this Faceless Void has started to fall behind in farm. Such a good laning phase, being able to solo kill that lifestealer, but after that unsuccessful chrono at top, Universe was kind of just forced around the map as Universe took up so much of that farm. And EG in a position where, because of Fear's back-to-back deaths, they don't even have him to rely on. And meanwhile, this Alchemist is about to complete this Radiance, and this is going to be a very strong timing for him.
He is a ticking time bomb, to be sure. 6 to 6, 14 minutes in. He thinks the game is easy, though. You would be wrong. Newbee do have a bit of an edge for now, especially with the way that both the Alchemist and KP Sand King are progressing.
All of these cores from Newbee are doing quite well for themselves. The supports aren't even doing too bad, as they are kind of keeping up with these supports. You've got 3 out of the top 4 net worth in this game. They're going to be happy with how this game is going. Their aggression, it doesn't feel like it's so 5-man based, and it more feels like this Kaka peak combination has been able
Dire's
to
bottom tower's getting the business.
3-man smoke. They really want to invade this jungle and maybe even loop around back to this top lane.
3-man smoke with a party surprise. Side KP.
Maybe if they can grab Sumail, they're going to go all the way around.
They can get Sumail.
Going to place this ward.
Take him off cleanly. Might be able to turn this into an objective, but
Radiant's top tower is taking hits.
They see Sumail now, but they've already fully committed to going up to the top lane.
You're a fine acolyte.
And Fear.
Radiant's top tower's hurting.
Things off, they start retreating, playing defensively, playing back inside their lane.
Gonna spot this. They might be a little bit too late as PPD are ready on the way out, and Newbee gonna guess incorrectly. There's a 4-man
regeneration.
Wastes quite a bit of time.
Radiant's mid tower's getting banged
so far
up.
back that they thought he might have been bait. Got that bloodstone completed. Now Newbee are gonna reveal themselves. The bruise is up.
For a bit of an extra pre-farm. So no action comes of that play by Newbee. Evil Genius is a very small tactical edge because of it. See if they're able to play in due time. Come down to
Dire's mid tower's having technical difficulties.
Pretty much all the farm on Evil Genius is sitting at 76% while Fear, as well as Universe, are only at 5k. Those heroes are going to be a bit slower anyway.
Right now here, like so far behind in farm in that last game. Almost always let the game in net worth, but this game, even behind that lifestealer who was solo killed in the lane.
Look at this. That is drawings on the map.
Dire's top tower's getting beat down.
They've got the aggressive vision set up on the left-hand side of
trouble brewing at Radiant's bottom tower.
They know that
the Dire might want to mine their top tower.
And have gone into the Radiant jungle. They've drawn the wraparound. They say they're going to go through Radiant jungle. They're going to try and wrap around on mid, just like we tried not so long ago against Sumail. So stay out of that area. Let's play at the top lane as much as possible. KP still pushing out that lane, waiting for anyone. TP defend the tier 2.
Dire's top tower, you know the drill.
With How waiting inside, but they give up on that. Now instead put themselves in mid, perhaps fearing that Moo's life is in danger.
Gonna get spotted by that ward is Newbee. Another 4-man rotation. EG might want to set up a trap for this.
Both
Here's actually, they're gonna send an illusion out, and maybe they go all in for this as the smoke.
I've seen this in my dreams.
Them Dire buildings are tough as nails for now. Dire's mid tower could use a little help.
Be a free mid tower and Newbee.
The Dire couldn't hang on to that mid tower.
They are set up on the right side. EG can't afford to be too aggressive here.
Both teams reading the smoke rotations from the other side so damn well, but the execution is what separates Newbee from Evil Geniuses. Newbee do manage to get the big 4 kill, push in mid, and will now control the map.
Dire's mid tower could use a little help.
Got what they came for. They got a core kill out of that. They know that Superstar is doing okay with the Morphling. There's no far behind the farm. They need to be incredibly satisfied. They are going to deward that mid ward, one of the more common places to put it. Newbee just going to back out, continue to farm. They can rely on this alchemist. Doesn't have too many natural counters in a game like this. As PG's died, they just lack disables.
Yeah. The Asha coming in for Boo will have that full-on Manta Naga Siren style split push coming into his play with the Radiant illusions all over the map. Just in another 5 to 10 minutes.
It is going to be a Yule, by the way, instead of a hood on the. We talked about how you could make a case for either. He get clipped, but he was nowhere near.
This means his ward was also spotted out. Tuan on his way to take that one out. So Evil Geniuses, they're left with very little vision. All they have is that mid ward that is placed behind the tier 1 tower that spotted out the smoke earlier. And that is it. Everything else is pretty dark.
I don't even know if Newbee is because it was still successful.
Yeah. Or maybe it will still catch them off guard. Meantime, though,
We'll take
Newbee
that.
are not really giving any opportunity.
Radiant's mid tower's coming apart.
More aggressive warding being laid down. They're going to try and get some vision of this tier 2 in top lane. See if they can get a good epicenter play. Actually, it's only level 1 epicenter. He needs another 47 experience to get the bump up in damage. And they need every little bit they can get if they want to be able to pop a tanky hero like Fear.
Right now, they just be satisfied with getting any of the quartz from EG.
Dire's mid tower's having technical difficulties.
At the same time, they have so many different ways to deal with them, especially if they can get the initiation with the Sand King. They can burst them so fast. That's why you have PPD. Always wait in the wings with that level 4.
Dire's top tower's getting beat down.
Start the assault from top. EG don't really have a response for the ancient Granicle. The Manta style from Blue is just going to constantly
The
shove
Dire might want to mine their top tower. Lost the top tower.
Newbee looking so good right now.
Newbee very cleanly will escape. Deal with the lanes that are pushing in. Already at the bottom lane. Evil Geniuses do have the vision down there, and I think they're going. Yep, there it goes. They're gonna go for the smoke play here. Wrap towards their vision. Got the information for a pickoff here. Just up whether or not Newbee stick around. And unfortunately for Evil Geniuses, it looks like they're gonna back out. In fact, more TPs coming in. They're playing so aggressively here in the top lane, and nobody besides Zai has shown himself. They're afraid of an incursion from Evil Geniuses, and their fears would be absolutely correct. Now Newbee push out as they've got the reinforcements. Boo putting himself on the front lines, tanking any potential EG threat. Evil Geniuses in turn will back themselves away, feeling that yet another gank has gone unsuccessfully. The Granite Golem getting closer and closer to PPD. Careful.
PD is
Radiant's mid tower could use a hand.
Really
Radiant's gone and fortified their structures.
Golem is not that threatening.
Yeah.
Radiant's mid tower's coming apart. Guess what's happening to Dire's bottom tower? The Dire went and fortified their structures. The Dire best do something about their bottom tower.
That would enable EG to start controlling up that jungle. They are buying time with more.
Dire just couldn't save that bottom tower.
Just about to conclude that game. It's not the kind of game that Fear was hoping to have.
They still get that tier 1 tower in the bottom lane while also defending their own mid tower. Feels like this is one of the plays that Newbee knows best. Now they're going to PPD in some serious trouble. How? He's trying to throw down the open wound, but he knows there's a purge just waiting with his name written on it. PPD. Now they're out movement. Now they're going to be able to find the counter. Tuan is going to be the target.
Fast forward.
Down, can't quite get off the building. The Silence runs the follow on now.
Dire's mid tower won't last much longer.
Sandstorm going to be stomped up. Burrow strike, offers 3 more seconds, but no one's really had. The big off-laner of Newbee goes in, now comes in, will be able to take out one, but now Universe is full. Samael, gonna be able to get the entrance here, it's irritated, still on target. Oh, Moody, trying to get the jump out, how? He will be able to make an escape, but still, Evil Geniuses take the best of that
Five in a row.
They will be able to find
You
one
don't get
more.
to win. I get to win.
Samael looking for a finish all by himself. The rest of his allies have all run
6
away.
in a row, 2 down.
Timber!
Samael
times the whirling death perfectly and gets his move.
Unbelievable team fight from EG. For a second, it looked like they weren't going to have enough damage, but this Timbersaw just hunts everybody down relentlessly, and EG, the team fight to even things up for them as they slow down the Alchemist's progression. 5-man wipe manages to stay alive in that fight.
So barely, and that is huge. We now have 16 Bloodstone charges on Sumail. He's got level 3 Chakram. You can see the net worth graph plummeting in experience and a serious dip downwards in gold.
An Alchemist in the game is always going to be hard to judge the gold advantage that the enemy team has, but you can always look towards the XP graph, which will be a lot more telling. This Timbersaw still has very good ways to deal with his Alchemist right now, as we're finding out. At the same time, Newbee, they didn't have their big ability. The epicenter just wasn't there as KP was caught out by that Zaya Earth Order in conjunction with his Faceless Void, which kept him locked down for so long. Now he's got a Blink Dagger of his own, Universe, and it gets some more clean initiations off for EG.
Sloppy play by Newbee has led to a new light for Evil Geniuses as they start racking in, picking up new items. Blink Dagger, as you said, for Universe is going to give them so many more opportunities. Sumail, seemingly endless amount of mana. It'll be a free takeoff for Newbee. Not much he can do here. Find 2 more seconds with that disruption.
The illusion's over. Newbee wasn't falling for it. Oh, we would have chased him.
Radiant's mid tower's getting banged up. The Radiant's courier's a goner.
Oof. Oh, that's down and a bottom. Universe is pinging for it, but
He's gonna be able to get there in time. He's moved. Old Spoon plays. Can't
Radiant's mid tower comes in.
Then the 20,000 net worth Alchemy. One more. Sumail's gonna find one more. Should be coming back. Here comes the other.
8 in a row. You miss me. Blinded to life is paid.
And the rest of Evil Genius is now on retreat, but KP's gonna pursue out. He's got a Blink Dagger. He knows Fear may jump forward. Zai out of it. Zai instead. Shutting down the PPD in front to slow down How with the first. KP pushed back by PPD while Fear goes for Spawn. Spawn popping his ultimate defensively, but PPD and Sumail right back in. He's already popped How. He moved to travel in and after the trade chase down the overextended their welcome, and they lose 5.
and just like that, another 5-man team wipe. Back to back, even without Sumail, went down so early in that fight. They've got enough of the 2 supports from EG putting on an absolute clinic with their abilities.
Radiant's top tower is taking hits.
Just stumbles once, and Evil Geniuses just keep shoving them backwards. Now Evil
Radiant's top tower's in bad shape.
Get the Aegis into their hands. And you may just call this EG game favored now.
And the crowd was silent.
Roche won't be stopping around no more thanks to the dive.
EG consecutive back-to-back whole team fight. Just wipe out 5. Now they look in such a strong position. Sumail continuing to scale. Now he's got the Aegis, level 19 already on him. And Morph now starting to find the farm. These 2 supports from EG that have enabled almost all of this. PPD and Zai, not nearly talked about enough.
Newbee going to take a bit of a pause here to farm up, and I'm sure
Radiant's mid tower's getting banged up.
Big item with that
Radiant's toughened up their structures.
They still don't have that one for another 40 seconds. So,
Radiant's mid tower's in trouble.
Fear got that tower. Even with 2 cores there, I'm going to deny it. And I think right now Newbee is reeling. They did not expect to lose back-to-back fights, especially with the Radiance. How farms both of their cores were in comparison to this Morphling who had almost nothing.
I mean, they were controlling the early game so well. The laning phase went pretty damn decent for KP up at the top lane. Past that 5 minutes, it seemed like they just picked up steam, and they routinely kicked off here, put pressure on the map in order to allow the Alchemist to get farmed. Perfectly executing the strategy that they needed to. They leave one opening for Evil Geniuses, and now EG right back in it.
I want to start gathering up. They've got Aghanim's completed now. Sumail.
And more of you.
More importantly, they still have this Aegis.
And this is where we're really going to see that draft advantage damage come into play, right? We said, you know, the Life Stealer may not be that effective.
Eyes without a face unseen.
And this Samael Timber Saw, very mobile heroes that can output a lot of damage.
Dyer's mid tower is having technical difficulties. Radiant's bottom tower ain't a pretty sight right now.
To an even amount. Going to see the
Dyer's mid tower could use a little help.
Really
Radiant's bottom tower's seen better days.
He's gonna make his replicant off of Zone Illusion from the Shadow Demon Disrupt.
Trouble brewing at Radiant's bottom tower. Dyer's mid tower won't last much longer. Have fun trying to bust down Radiant structures now. Radiant's bottom tower ain't a pretty sight right now. Dyer's mid tower's having technical difficulties.
It's all been easy in the past 5 minutes.
Trouble brewing at Radiant's bottom tower. There goes Radiant's bottom tower.
Seems like the big problem for them is the Samael Timber Saw. They were to just buy themselves a bit more time, give the next round of items, or maybe it's just a change up in practice. What did Newbee need to do?
Pick up the top side. They thought about it. They dove quite deep for that one, but you're instantly going to respond.
Universe Link slightly in the wrong direction, may still catch it. Never mind. Gets up pursuit, and KP hiding himself deep in the trees.
Newbee doing the correct thing, playing in this top side of the map, force EG back, and not get the value out of this Aegis that they wanted. You know, he's on the hunt, he's got a Blink Dagger. They find out of it, nothing is. Everybody from Newbee. I think this is going to lead to a straight up tier 1 power push from Newbee.
Radiant's top tower is hurting.
Newbee to just put up the waves using the natural style from Moo, who desperately needs to get 6 slotted for the fight.
Radiant's top tower is in bad shape. One less top tower for the Radiant.
Microsoft not exactly known for their right-click damage, but the tank and time. Well, we'll take the tier 1, and with the creep wave, start pressuring that.
Radiant's top tower is taking hits.
Set up. They've got PC on the side, ready to go with the epicenter. The male has the Aegis though, and that is not their target of choice. They want to go for wait for Evil Geniuses to respond. Now the epicenter, they're coming in.
2 down.
All of them! To the void!
And now Samael's got to make his escape on life number 2. Blink to the right-hand side.
What happened? All I do, I do
back
in her
in the
name.
second game.
EG getting way too overconfident there is the first epicenter we've seen in quite some time. Hits its mark as Newbee strike back with this 6-slotted Alchemist leading the way.
They set this all up by going onto Samael, forcing Evil Geniuses to come
3-man burrow
and
strike.
that sets KP up for the most beautiful epicenter.
Dyer's mid tower won't last much longer.
We still have this Chronosphere available. They've got to be careful for this, but with Newbee as strong as he is, I don't think they're
Dyer's
worried.
mid tower is nothing now.
EG don't have the best way to burst him down, especially with the Alchemist. 1000 HP, he's got the Oracle waiting behind him, the counter initiation from the
Haste!
King. Now EG have something to worry about. A lost team fight for them is going to set them back much further than they'd like. Do have this Nthblade now completed on the Moor. They're going to go for the smoke out. They
We'll take that!
Unawares. That's been what's working out for them so far. Forcing KP to just run back, him down.
Oh, they're rapidly getting close enough to a free pickoff here. See if they go down or try and cut over to the tier 2, or even better, they actually have to go down. Now, the pickoff on actually wings himself forward, stays ahead of Samael. Lots of quick reactions, not sure which, but he can go down the other way. He buys himself enough time to win. Maybe actually going to think about fighting this one. Once again, Swan buys himself.
The Dyer best do something about that bottom tower.
With Howard dying right here, now the moves here, but Chronosphere's going up.
Somebody's on over. Guess what's happening to Dyer's bottom tower?
He starts getting some free right clicks. You're in some trouble. Bounces over to his replicate though. Ain't all the
Unkind. Rewind.
Chuan executed by Samael, Evil Geniuses. It will walk away from that one. One universe down, but they picked up so much more. 3 members of Newbee went down in that game.
Very well done by EG positioning themselves. That Chronosphere could not have been even better as the waveform just made it over the edge. Managed to catch the Sand King by the tail with the Chrono. And they weren't able to utilize any of the damage from Moo, as they need that Sand King to stay alive, so he has that lockdown so Moo can continue to pursue. Can't do it on his own against this Lincoln Sphere Morphling.
Yeah, the truly dangerous thing, right, is that the Morphling is surviving through these engagements now. He's already got the Ethereal Blade. It's only going to get worse for Newbee. Why they need another clean execution like they did in that top lane. See if they can start threatening some objectives. Burst of the Aghanim Scepters coming out from the Alchemist.
Immediately gonna give it away.
Try and swarm into the Dire jungle here. Push Evil Geniuses back. Bottom lane is still pushing out. Good strategy.
You have done a great service.
Give it to Sand King, who has that point booster, but
maybe could be using it for something else. They value the long-range Burrow Strike. Would you have preferred it? Maybe on the Skywrath mage? Burst damage?
I don't think there's too much of a better target. He can even go for the Octarine of this and score so much of his cooldowns. Thing with a reduced Blink Dagger, Force Staff, Burrow Strike, well worth it. It's like they're reluctant to meet head on. And right now, what's determining these fights is who gets the jump off, KP or Universe. These are the two men to watch in this match. As whenever we've seen KP get an epicenter off, we have dominantly won the fight. E.g., conversely, whenever they get the Chronosphere off on any of the core targets, they can burst them down so quickly.
This strategy of the Shadow Demon Morphling, we actually didn't talk about it too much, where they get the Disruption illusions, they replicate off of one of those illusions, and then Morphling just has a second hero to play around with. It's quite strong. It just didn't really feel that much impact early on, where the Morphling was rather underfarmed, but now that Morphling is rapidly catching back up to the top echelons of net worth. It's sitting at 16,000. We are really going to see that second Morphling and the power of the duo come into play.
Pushes out so fast. Always apply pressure to Newbee. Gonna break their smoke mid anytime, and it looks like EG trying to play his 5. Be desperate in this situation,
but they do not have their Alchemist. They're going to try and jump in anyway.
Not afford to do this.
Yeah.
KP has to be able to catch them unawares. That epicenter we talked about, that's the key here.
Regeneration!
Samael back to 12 Bloodstone charges after that last team fight. Universe building up some damage, does have the Diffusal Blade as well as the Blast on top of that initiating Link Dagger form.
EG gathering around this road because they know this is where the next big team fight's going to be. Here, just continues to make replicates, shut the waves, build themselves, back just the other way.
Flash, maybe coming. Newbee do scan out one of the heroes in the background there of Evil Geniuses. So many more, though, that are sitting real close to this creep wave, looking for their initiation. Samael jumps forward here, clearing through the Alchemist illusions.
Newbee really want this. He's lined up for it. He's trying to send Moo forward. Bait for this, but EG not taking it.
They're going to fight high balance. Get out of the front. Comes out. They're going to try and catch out. Oh my god, how? He barely survived through that one. Not good enough. The damage of Fear will persevere, but now boom. He's going to be one manning on against Fear. KP trying to escape with a Burrow Strike. They're just ignoring him as best as possible to deal with the other Newbee members, but eventually one of them is going to go down. Looks like it's going to be TPD. It looks like the Radiant Run. Here's TPD back in with a Burrow Strike. Does upside, but Moo dropping lower and lower. He no longer has the chemical raise in about 5 more seconds. He may end up going down, dying a little bit more damage to the Radiant Burn. He does manage to get himself away for the time being. KP wants to work the Burrow Strike. Can't hit him. He's going to be dusted up. Who at this point, he thinks he can do this one. He's got no HP whatsoever. He's chasing KP away. And now Fear can come in. He's over the side, manage to juke out Fear. Jump forward with the Shivas. The Timber Chain on point to hit the hero, but no trees.
You see the priority in both team fights. side is just trying to eliminate the supports and the disables as EG just beeline for that Sand King in every engagement. And without him available, you see that move, he just can't get his damage out, even with his predictive network.
That Yule Scepter did there for Sumail, bought him a lot of extra time to be able to dish out some damage. Because that combination, Burrow Strike and Skywrath Mage Mystic Flare, huge amount of burst damage. They're trying to target Sumail every single time, and he needs extra bit of help. That's where the Yule Scepter comes into play now as well from the Elder Titan side, having survived through that last team fight. Had quite the large amount of network to work off.
Right now, EG just ignoring this Alchemist who just doesn't...
Radiant's mid tower's coming apart.
They're just trying to get rid of this life stealer, KP. Not enough credit as well to PPD, who got that disruption off onto Sumail and extended it by so long.
Third disruption and replicate.
Oh, not the trees, no!
Now the Chronosphere is going to be on 3 with the mail over the damage. They need another 6 in a row. Out and off! Ethereal play and an Elder Titan ultimate just eliminates him in a 1-2 punch. And now they're going to try and
7 in a row, 2 down.
Hiding with the Glimmer Cape. Who is going to come with his ultimate, burning away on some of Evil Geniuses, but not really committing. They may have struck first by killing Sumail's Timber Saw, but it's Universe's Chronosphere that ends that argument.
I think EG are perfectly satisfied with that. Every single time you kill Sumail, so many abilities.
He's found the disruption. Being careful to die here. Center is going to be the response.
Somebody's on a roll.
Up against time. Damage from Fear. He's threatening his life. He's got to let that regen come into play and kite Fear around as best as possible. Zai trying to play around this first KP, trying to juke out the Burrow Strike. He knows it's coming. Did he just do it? Oh, he's in the Zai! He throws out the stomp. KP, he forced out himself. He breaks back in, goes for the right click. Unbelievable. Jukes him out beautifully by Zai. Keeps himself alive and back home to the fountain he goes.
I mean, look at the range on the Burrow Strike that KP has to work with. Zai just jukes him out of his shoes right now. It's EG.
And start that beautiful initiation. So important that they kill Universe as well there. But Zai, what an unbelievable play right here as he jukes into the Roshan pit.
I cannot believe that he was able to survive throughout that.
Insane.
Clutch plays are going to determine this game as these two teams are so close in terms of skill and the raw power of their lineups. So far, EG are holding serve right now. There's Newbee every single time. Count them out. The center initiation. More hero, they would have been
Gonna be able to provide the response. Gets wrong, but Gyro's name almost completing Fear for the minute. Get away. Now the slow down on the house. All it does is Sumail still looking for that same piece, but he's gonna
5 in a row, 2 down.
He's just munched on by power.
Distill DRS.
Sumail with the
2 down.
he may have done it to the end, squad, but it doesn't matter. He still falls, trading his life away for the supports. And Evil Genius.
Dire's mid tower could use a little help.
And now there's a Roshan available to them as Al just gonna walk into that pit, be very satisfied.
Dire's bottom tower's getting the business. Fades away.
Probably drop the TP to pick this one up for himself. Even runs into a regen rune for his troubles.
You can see just how important that Chronosphere is when they get one in that doesn't manage to really do or how doesn't immediately.
Radiant put old Roche down quick and clean.
Just turns towards Newbee's favor.
The thing about that fight too is that Hal just immediately jumps on this Morphling, forces him back. Fear couldn't really contribute to his team's damage. It was this Elder Titan natural order plus this Morphling that was.
The Dire best do something about that bottom tower.
Fear out of the fight, they can even play defensive.
Dire's bottom tower got blown to bits.
As they can kill the rest of the heroes quite easily, even Sumail.
These objectives are free picking. Newbee, they get the Roshan, Aegis, and the bottom lane. Ball is in their court, so to speak, but Newbee, they need to draw out a plan. Exact game plan. How they want to be able to reach high ground.
Doesn't seem like it's going to be off the back of a straight 5-man push if they need a pick off outside of phase first.
They're looking for it. Realize they've got to get the jump off first. Sumail finally picking up that.
Is mine.
A long time.
Hey, that combo, the shotgun combination of the Morphling, outing even a tanky hero like that likes to.
The Bloodborne coming in from Pal. Very good pickup for him.
That is great.
This is his answer to the Morphling.
That being said, we still have BKBs being picked up. Obviously, the Morphling already had his. Upcoming fight, though, a fresh addition to Evil Geniuses will be the 10-second BKB for Sumail.
Right now, Newbee, they want to take this fight on the heels of their hits. He's going to run into each other.
He's going to be the first one to strike that BKB. Moon looking for
8 in a
combination. KP can't do anything. He only gets thrown right now into Sumail. The silence is there. Jump over.
9 in a row. 2 down.
They turn back on the left-hand side towards Hal. The second life on that Aegis. Evil Geniuses may not be able to catch up with them, but they still won the fight. Finally being able to take out Moose Alchemist.
That was so well done by here. He pops the BKB, he runs across that tree line, he finds KP, going for that epicenter, largely negates it, stopping his blink. He unable to do anything against that fight. Newbee.
So he stops the counter initiation from Fear. Clearly the MVP of that last fight, followed up by that nice chronosphere by Universe. Let's see if they can do it again, though. This time, King wants to get the crowd of Fear. Running up to now is losing this one, though. The destruction goes down. Flying through Sector 2. These more
Radiant's down and fortified their structures.
away to his replicate just ahead of the bird threat.
In full retreat mode.
Radiant's top tower is taking hits.
This mid-tier 2 tower, they've got a lot of map control, sending Newbee.
Radiant's top tower is in bad shape.
Just highlights how important this tanking is to these engagements. This isn't able to get his damage off. Team fights like this, you almost instantly lose. They need KP to have impact. Fear, because of how effective he's been with finding him so far in these fights, largely neutralize that threat. The Universe takes 2-man chronos, minimum so far.
At the same time, Newbee have done a damn good job of shutting down Sumail. They've neutralized his Bloodstone almost entirely. He's down to 6 Bloodstone charges now, opposed to the 12 that you start out with. 26-9, 46 minutes in. Once again, we direct your attention to that gold graph. Again, it's misleading. We see that about 12,000 gold lead for Newbee. The experience is really what reflects the pace of this game. You can see almost dead even, a slight edge to Evil Geniuses for now. The game may change up in a moment.
Newbee. About going aggressive soon. Moose just going to shove in this mid wave, force EG to deal with it. They want to get the jump off first. They understand how key it is. It has been the entire game. They've got a smoke available to them. They want to force in all the waves before they make a move.
Dragon and Scepter.
This
Who's going to be given to this time?
Everyone's got one except Kako.
Yeah, Kaka.
My
Now it's your
gratitude.
turn.
Dire's mid tower won't last much longer.
EG, they're gathered around this bottom area. They're just going to start to siege. They're going to dare Newbee to come back. Lou's going to send his illusions forward. Enough to stop them.
It is so much easier for Evil Geniuses to threaten high ground than it is for Newbee. They have
Dire's mid tower is having technical difficulties.
EG when they just throw those replicate and those disruption illusions to beat on the tier 3 tower.
Dire's mid tower could use a little help.
Back up or actively jump outside of their base.
Push out this bottom lane. Use these more illusions like you said.
They've even got the boost travel now for Morphling. So that just means even more crazy movement around the map where this Morphling can potentially push in all the ways by himself.
They've smoked up. Desperately want to start this fight. They've got one in the inventory still. Not necessarily on the other hand. Have the inventory.
Newbee are looking
their way
for
up.
smoke. They may be able to find one. Not a terribly great target. In fact, it's done with a strong spear. Oh my god, the combination!
Two
It just
down.
wipes out all the design and brings it down in front of that period, of course. He's gonna go straight and pulls out the ultimate from Squad.
Oh, they managed to get it.
As the full
how many I lost?
with fear, entering into beyond godlike mode.
Universe with the counter initiation, binding the Sand King, who had to commit that stun but wasn't able to get out in time. And now EG have all the damage in the world to work with, and Universe starts the hunt.
PPD playing the role of a petite little bait. Newbee, it's taking full force. They jump in, grab PPD, and immediately realize here. Now here comes the buyback. Newbee gonna attempt to hold as best they can.
Radiant's mid tower could use a hand.
But surely there's gonna have to be another buyback.
Yep. And EG right now is such a force.
Radiant's bottom tower has seen better days.
Enabling everyone from EG to deal so much damage for free.
KP are back up with Oracle and Sand.
Radiant's mid tower is getting banged up.
Already done enough though. They forced out a buyback and hold through as well as how.
They've opened up the game for themselves. If EG find either of these cores out of place, the game just ends in Newbee. They don't want to die waiting inside their base. They're going to make an aggressive move forward, but they can't afford to lose any of their cores here. They have to dominate.
Radiant's bottom tower ain't a pretty sight right now.
Take their fate into their own hands, trying to create their own destiny by pushing out and being the aggressors, but they're just not going to find anything, it seems. Evil Genius is advancing back, hold that phone. And he's not even thinking about it. He's going to be
It's the last of time. So no-eyed man is king.
Can't get back home. One tries to save his fellow support, but all comes
My dreams unrequited.
still though. The buyback from the universe. Newbee are so happy that pick off and the resulting retreat. They did not lose anything too critical.
Yeah, they just buy themselves some more time. They make EG a little bit too antsy. I thought that was going to be a continuation of a fight. EG not really in the best position to look for it, especially with Universe. Nowhere near that fight after that buyback is Newbee. Find some life.
So much higher progression though. Look, he's sitting at that 20,000 net worth mark, and that may sound like a lot, but for 15 minutes in the game,
Radiant's bottom tower has seen better days.
as well as Fear knocking on the door of a 30,000 net worth.
And Zai finishes the fight. This other Titan is an absolute monster in this team fight. And the bottom
Now, working into a raid, see if Hero Blade approaches now. Here comes the point. With them spawning everything, and get the sun is on fire. Universe is wrong, his time walks almost up. And KP, that's been the side the fight comes in, but here, he actually goes down for the move. Ron and Lua doing it, and now Newbee puts out. There's one more, but this is flying stream side gonna be slowed down. Down, and the creep falls. Fear unable to complete the TP out, and Newbee, it's everything they can get their hands on, a grab bag. They're not going to be able to find another hero though. Zai looks like he juked that one out moving left, but still, Evil Geniuses at that fight and more buybacks being committed to what they think was going to be an endgame scenario, but it turns against them.
Newbee finally find a win condition. Now Warplay buys back thinking that if they pick off any of the cores, they've got the game ready for Newbee, not nearly in fighting position. Now Newbee, they're in such an advantageous position. Cal's gonna pick up the Saber, she's available on the ground now for KP. And further, the scaling later and later into the game.
Just got stunned by the Radiant.
It's drops the cheese rather, and leaves it towards KP. He obviously wants the Aegis. This means that Al may no longer have to be the target of a false promise when he's on the front lines and gets initiated on by a Chronosphere.
Yep.
He's got that extra life to work with, and Juan can play a much calmer game. Bide his time.
The only core with the buyback right now is going to be Sumail. That is okay for EG right now. Need one of their cores to be able to have the buyback, but if they lose Sphere Universe here, it could just mean the game for them as Newbee pushes out so fast, and conversely for Newbee, 2 minutes of no buyback on their life stealer, this Alchemist, but I think they're comfortable waiting because this Morphling has to take so much longer, and EG have to play so carefully. You notice they're 5 inside their base right now. They're not willing to move out. Here, it looked like he even had to sell that Dragon Lance to afford that. Be able to go down there.
Let me propose something to you, folks. Do you, as Newbee, knowing the buyback timers, do you wait until your buyback timer is up on move, as well as Hal? That makes sense. But after that, once that's up, do you go try and push high ground, knowing that he doesn't have a buyback, but neither will Fear?
Well, it's probably an okay trade for Newbee, because if they pick off the Morphling of the board, I think they're in prime position anyways. They're probably going to wait out the buybacks of at least 2 cores just so they have that advantage. Right. They can probably hold high ground just using their Alchemist and their Lifestealer, but it's worth it to wait just because they have that timer advantage over Fear, who kind of shuttled inside his base right now. And EG, they're so afraid to lose anybody. They're just going to stick to those files. What a back and forth match we've had so far.
It's been insane. Both teams know that a single pickoff be what cost them this game number 2, this best of 3 series in the upper bracket. That's why both teams staying grouped up. Finally, we have some item progression for Hal. Still doesn't have buyback for another minute and a half, so he commits to the Assault Cuirass, knowing that in that minute and a half timer, he will have enough gold.
Yep, and that's the Hex completed now for Moo. Understanding he needs another disable in case his Sand King goes down early. Since KP doesn't have that buyback available, and with buybacks refreshing soon on Newbee, it looks like they want to make their move. ED gonna incentivize this even more.
Unfortunately, Skywrath Mage
Is
has
mine.
taken for himself. The 56 minutes Marnet would have refreshed that room.
Everybody from EG just continuing to wait inside the base patiently. 3 minutes to go on Fear's buyback.
We approach that hour marker. It seems like that is the time that Newbee will go for the high ground push. They're setting up for it now. 5 mid, side lanes, decently well pushed out. We'll have bottom lane about midway through, and top lane being actively pushed away by that replicate of the Warfling. They may not get a better shot at this as Newbee.
He gets some cheese. They want to bait this forward. If they hold the tunnel on this Hal in exchange for his Aegis, they'd be really happy with that. But
Rage out, Hal realizes he can't actually fight against those illusions. Instead, he'll recover his HP off the neutrals, and with the help of Juan's Purifying Flames, man.
Run, buddy! Run!
Too long. Still have this opportunity as the Morph. No buyback for 2 minutes, but it looks like they are afraid to overextend. They might just reset and maybe wait for EG to try to get aggressive again. They know that EG are holed up in their base for the duration of this Morphling's buyback.
Never know if that push have been Newbee's downfall or their saving grace. Either way, Newbee will buy themselves more time. Gonna deal with the side lane pushes for now and look towards outsourcing evil geniuses.
Radiant's top tower's hurting.
Instead of being the active force.
Radiant disown their top tower.
Deny this top tower. They're going to show themselves, and I think this is going to enable EG to get aggressive again. They should smoke.
They know the Aegis is about to go down.
They're going to go for it. Even with a minute buyback remaining on Fear, they think this is enough time to make a move. This might throw Newbee off. Newbee might be expecting them to wait the full duration.
He may be the one that Evil Geniuses run into here. He's farming up the Ancients. Will go. 58-minute rune is right there. Doesn't go for it though. Outline is safe, doing the push first. And
Aegis is going to fade though. And Newbee, they're also hightailing it back to their base. They're going to poke around and feel see if Newbee would engage that fight.
So, the game now entirely set. Our next clash may come to a head based around Roshan. We'll have to see if either one of these two teams wants to get aggressive before that point.
We'll take that!
Both of them staying 5-man, both of them staying relatively focused on their own side of the map. Male now going to go for that ultra late game build. Aims towards the Dagon 5 for the extra burst damage.
And without any charges available on that Bloodstone, I doubt he cares anymore about it. It barely makes a difference at this point. His mana regen is going to be just fine with that Octarine core.
Alright. One more axe to himself. All that's left. Poor old How.
It's kind of cool. He invests Magnum Scepter. He just doing the weird 4-man ganks, just knocking the KP, take it back.
Regeneration!
Evil geniuses are pushing out to the Radiant jungle. Newbee mirroring geniuses as best as possible. Will go up to the top lane.
5 acts available on almost everybody. Teams feel pretty comfortable making aggressive maneuvers.
Male's got quite a good amount of surplus gold. He can actually get that Dagon 5 pretty soon. Burst damage. That's going to be causing so much havoc to heroes like Schwann's Oracle and Paco's Skyrock Mage.
The Radiant disown that bottom tower.
HP to work with in the first place.
Yeah. Push their bottom goal by the illusions of Morphling. Enable them to take that tower. You just back off the heals of that. This team fight could determine pretty decent amount of who's able to get aggressive on the map.
Alright, so pretty much everyone back to full buyback status, including Chuan. Getting closer and closer. There's the Dagon 5 Horse and Male. He is fully peaked out. A boots of travel level 2 for him. We are going to see the full extent of the ultra late game of these two drafts and what exactly an Alchemist, Sand King, and Lifestealer, the backup of the Skywrath Mage and Oracle, can do against Evil Geniuses, Sparkling, and Timbersaw late game.
PG are filtered down into the Dire jungle. They can start to control this Roach Pit and force Newbee to make them move outside their base.
Invisibility!
Viz for Universe. Going to be a game-changing room. We'll have to see. His invisibility gets him the correct positioning for the perfect chronosphere. Roshan, potential spawn time has just started. These two teams will start making their way towards each other. Already the scan has gone out. They know the heroes are here. They're trying to find the initiation. The Universe is in base. They're not going to see him. He can't get inside. The Universe is the Universe in fear. Buyback's gonna have to start coming out from Newbee as they're gonna be forced back to their base. Evil geniuses. They start swarming in. They know they found Newbee in a moment of weakness. If they can just take out one hero that doesn't have buyback without trading anything else, this game may be theirs.
Yeah, Newbee right now being pressed back is they're gonna have to commit the buybacks. There is no Chronosphere available.
Radiant's mid tower could use a hand.
Reset this and go for the Aegis of their
No
own.
breaking down the Radiant structures like this.
Gotta be careful.
That was
Radiant's mid tower's getting bagged up.
So exposed!
The buyback comes out from KP, and they do catch the man.
Radiant's
but that
mid-rags
still
is
a
out of
great
the picture.
position. See that fight? This is the fight that pretty much determines the tempo of the full late game for at least another 10 minutes. That Chronosphere perfectly well played and moved. The combination of that Elder type ult, which you said time and time again, so powerful in the late game, and then Fear's burst damage with the Ethereal Blade shotgun combination just overwhelms Move's high amount of HP.
And during that time as well, you pick up that mid-rax. The one that they want, but PPD manages to grab the range one just on the strength of the illusions that he keeps sending in. Just another factor that they have to deal with is they're now going to constantly have their way. They have the option of taking this Aegis at any point.
Here is almost got 300 agility.
Maybe more, it's a little bit more. You would have 3 individuals.
They're now one successful move kill away from winning this game as well.
Maybe as well would be a decent advantage, stopping the initiation from Newbee, but as you said earlier, that's why Moo went to the side device. If he doesn't have KP to rely on, if he gets picked off, they don't have a burrow strike to work with, they still need a hard to save.
EG just forcing Newbee to deal with it. At some point, EG have to realize this Angus is available for them. Universe has the Chronosphere available and a freshly minted 10-second BKB. So powerful in this 64-minute game.
There are absolutely no disables of Newbee that go through the match community, so it's all up to them to find the initiation. Otherwise, KP's follow-up of Epicenter and Burrow Strike may be rendered completely ineffective.
Yeah.
They're going to bottle into the Chronosphere up first! Universe forces out that ultimate, now turns his attention towards Hal. Sai gets saved by the disruption. Universe puts the timeline himself away. But Hal inevitably will go down. And Evil Genius is about to force yet another buyback from Newbee.
They've been so patient this entire team. Now EG, they're going to start making their way bottom. They're going to force another buyback out. This time around, though, KP doesn't have it available. Newbee can't afford to lose any of their cores now. Other than having buybacks.
4 versus 5 with no buybacks whatsoever. Newbee, a miracle defense needed here. And they're going to be chipped away one by one. The illusions start coming in.
I'll get
eating
away
away at the melee racks.
Ow.
There's always the save for the Oracle. Ready to go. Evil Geniuses, Bloodthorn out on the Universe.
Radiant's mid-rack didn't make it.
Rack inevitably goes down the L-back to the top lane with Fear. It's heading away. They got him. They burst it down Fear.
Get a little Time grinds even mountains to dust. Into down.
Time block that one off inside. They'll be cleaned up as well. Samael completes his TP. Now, it may just be Newbee's turn to force out some buybacks from Evil Geniuses, but first, they have to deal
Radiant's
with the
top tower's taking hits.
Decision to go for the top.
The Radiant got one last top tower.
He does manage to eventually take down the tower with the help of the creeps. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get this bottom racks. Newbee, though, in a position where maybe EG can just go for it again as they all have buybacks available. Newbee in a position, if they lose a core at any point in the next 5 minutes, would almost just lose the game. Especially this Lifestealer and EG. They just want to wait out their buybacks if they can. That would be a huge advantage for them. As now a Refresher Orb is completed. This is truly the late game.
I'm not sure if I've ever seen a Refresher on a Orb. Like, that's how late game we are.
Here we go. Another load, but this time, Golden VA gets to go out. Probably just drop it down the line.
Not that big an item, man. Actually,
Rouge had it coming, and the Radiant done the deed.
Abandon the cheese. They've got a second one already.
Chuan needs it. He's got the refresher. He needs the extra mana.
Yeah, and this mid wave has to be dealt with. Keep pushing in this top wave. Probably has some boots to travel back, or at least Moo has to shove in this wave, but now it's Newbee.
25 seconds left. They're going to try and go high ground, it seems, before Fear is back up naturally. Force him into that awkward decision of buying back with only a few seconds left or losing an objective.
Can't do nothing about dire structures right now.
With that chakra, with the lift down.
Guess what's happening to Dire's bottom tower?
Go for it. See if they can
Dire gave up the bottom tower.
Here, but now Fear's about to get back up. Universe waiting on the side and the Chronosphere.
Who's being affected up, but quick retreat is G. Again, weren't forced to use the buybacks. And although Newbee have the Aegis and cheese.
He is not nearly as powerful as the buybacks that Evil Genius are holding on to, so clearly still an advantage. The boys in blue.
No, only takes one fight for Newbee, especially if they manage to catch out this Lifestealer. He doesn't have the buyback available for him.
20% How's total deaths at TI6 to come from this game. 10 deaths right now on How in a 68-minute game. Ooh, even less than that. 6, and 19 right now, and time for some extra couriers.
Now there's an MKB on this Life Stealer. He's going to be able to deal with this Morphling even better now. Doesn't have that lockdown of maybe something like an Abyssal Blade would be able to help him out. And G have it around. They have a smoke available. They're a little bit reluctant to take this fight. Even with the APCs, seem a little bit too hesitant. And now a Hex is completed on Sumail, another control factor. Can be great against those 5-second BKBs.
They have a buyback on Moo, and Moo alone, KP, another 30 seconds until he has now has the extra life of the Aegis, but he still needs another full 3 minutes. There's going to be, I think, a very clear time where the Aegis goes down. Then we can try and exploit yet another Aghanim.
Their
Final Aghanim
house up there.
Now will finally be graced with that extra ability, Assimilate. Now the smoke, Evil Geniuses, they start coming in, they managed to get those side device on the Havoc at the Aegis, so they start ignoring him, realizing that's not the initiation that they want. The battle of illusions is immense. This probably the illusions now.
I soared so
controlling up the how's gonna come back out. He's low HP and he's so
Something bad's happened to the Radiant's courier. 4 in a row. 2 down. How about that?
Back in a last minute he will fall as well as EG still look healthy as all hell, and that is it. Newbee College and Evil Geniuses. They move on 2-0 Newbee in the upper bracket.
Looks like we lost.
Fight
that Newbee put up with EG. They eventually persevere on the back of so many different clutch plays, and they managed to make it work for them. None of them had to commit that buyback near the end.
TI4 faces TI5. Evil Geniuses, at least this time, will be the ones to come out on top. They will move on in the upper bracket. Newbee, they will start their run through the lower bracket. Dangerous position.